badly painted 3D models are putting people off resin. In this video I'm going to talk about that, and then chat to the art director of Pegaso Models, Francesco Farabi, about how to do resin well. My name is James, this is Rising 8 Minis, and I've got a question for you. When you think of resin minis, do you think of this? Perhaps it's this. Or even this. For most, I think it's likely the former. And for years we've been told that 3D printed miniatures would be the death of the hobby, as people would be able to, at home, print models as good as Games Workshop. And it hasn't quite panned out like that. In reality, there's a real skill to producing decent 3D models. And that lies as much in your ability to clean up a model as to print a good one. That's more than evident by the countless posts on social media about poor 3D quality prints. Why is my mini sticky? Why won't the paint stick to my model? What's this little weeping bit? That's not to say 3D printing itself is bad. After all, almost all resin minis, good or bad, are made on printers. It just comes down to the people using them and their ability to execute the product effectively and use the tech well. 3D printing offers a chance to collect, create, and paint minis that just wasn't available a decade ago, and that's only a good thing. eBay and Etsy are chock full of 3D printed models. Kickstarter and Patriot are full of subscriptions to printable STL files, a lot of which are really good, and now Seacast is entering the fray. I'm not going to talk too much about Seacast here. Brent from Goobertown Hobbies did an amazing video about it, which I'll link down in the description below. I will say though that Seacast is a flexible, tough, non-toxic, fully recyclable alternative to plastic for smaller scale miniature manufacturers, meaning they can churn out models cheaply enough and quickly enough that they can begin to compete on price without investing tens of thousands of pounds in plastic models. I think it's likely this, or a product like it, will be the future of small batch miniature production, but that's another video. And that's why I wondered if we're beginning to see the end of resin miniatures. After all, resin is crazy toxic. All of the waste just ends up in the trash, and done badly, resin minis are shocking. But some of it isn't. In fact, some of it is stunning. The master models used to create Seacast molds, for example, are 3D printed in resin. The super high detail minis sold by Spiramirabilis, the Pegaso models, for example, are just another level of excellent. It's really hard to get across on camera. I'm going to try anyway though. But think of it this way. It's like the jump in technology from HD to an Apple Pro Retina display, or whatever they're called. Or put it this way, it's like the jump from old hammer to current GW plastics. The difference is that stark. Look, I'll show you. I see so many posts online asking where to find miniatures like this, and I made a video, you can find the link up there somewhere, so do check that out. But right now, Kimera have a Kickstarter running with some epic models in it. This isn't a sponsored video, they haven't asked me to make this. I'm telling you because I have 5 of their models already, and I've backed the Kickstarter because they're superb. If you're interested, I backed the large scale Asteria, but I'll probably get a paint set, and maybe another. Help me. Just a quick one about cost here. These models aren't cheap necessarily. A single 54mm figure will set you back somewhere between £40 and £60. So that's a lot of money. Now, there's reasons for that. I was lucky enough to interview Francesco Farabi, and I asked him what goes into making a model. And that's obviously what makes it so expensive. So instead of me waffling on about it, I thought I'd hand you over to him to explain.
So the process is that you start with an idea, then the idea has to become a draw, a concept, okay? There are several ways to do concept. You can work directly with a concept artist, and you can just ask what you want. I need you draw something like this, like that, like that, and he will paint, or she will paint. Okay, then when the sculpt is done, normally now most most part of time the sculpting is 3D sculpt, okay? Is done by ZBrush digitally, okay? So this sculpt goes to Africa. Africa check it, it's okay, it's not okay, we made the cuts. Then the cuts go to the printer. The printer we have several people we're working with that has the print machine. They will print. Maybe you have to reprint some part, maybe you have to change it manually. When everything is okay, this comes to the caster. The caster prepares the mold, makes the cast, send you back the cast. If the cast is okay, you start the production. It's not finished because some copies of that goes to the painters to make the box art. Sometimes me and Riccardo, we make the box art internally. A lot of the box art we make by ourselves, but we have a lot of box art that comes out. So this goes in Russia, this goes in Poland, this goes, etc., etc. And then the production starts. Release the figure, it's at least 6 months. The Hades, that it's coming out in December, was very complex figure to think. I am the concept. I made the full concept of this figure, so there are no drawer. I made everything from this figure, the concept of this figure, and from when I start to think about it and the release, it was 1 year. It's not finished with the painting, because after the painting, come back, preparing the graphic, preparing the layout for the boxes, print the boxes, make the boxes, put the boxes inside, make the check of the resin if there are problems, hole, mold lines, things.
Thank you to Francesco for doing that. That was just part of the interview. There'll be lots more coming on the channel in the future, so make sure you subscribe to catch those. So the costs are slightly higher, and it's up to you whether you decide the value is worth it or not. For me, the way I look at it is a model like Ares took me maybe 80 hours to paint. So I'm paying for a beautiful sculpt that will give me 80 hours of pleasure. And for that, I'm paying £50. That's actually pretty cheap when you compare to how you can spend your time otherwise, but whether you think that's worth it or not, that's up to you. Just don't be surprised by the cost of these things when you see them at face value. So no, resin isn't dead. I'm a firm believer that beautiful tools make a job far more enjoyable. Beautiful sculpts are just so much more fun to paint, with volumes and textures that are just begging you to be more creative. But if you go the other way and end up with a poor 3D print with soft details, or that's difficult to clean, it makes the job so much harder. When I bought some minis from Raging Heroes, I struggled so much. They look great in the renders, but the details were so small I couldn't execute them effectively, and I had real trouble trying to get paint to even stick to the models. So, onto my shelf they went, and they've never left. And what's the point in that? I don't have much time to hobby. What time I do, I want to enjoy. And that's the point of all of this. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, subscribe, all that usual stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks so much.